Hi, I'm going to be reading James 5, verses 1 to 6. Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you. Your wealth has rotted and moths have eaten your clothes. Your gold and silver are corroded. Their corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Look, the wages you failed to pay workers who mowed your fields are crying out against you. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you. Now here we've got James talking to the rich oppressors, talking about two things. Firstly, about slavery. I know it's quite a heavy topic, but there were people, especially in those days, that were exploiting workers. They weren't paying them. And he was saying that the wages you failed to pay your workers who mowed your fields are crying out against you. If I turn to the Message, which simplifies it quite nicely, and read it. And a final word to you arrogant rich, take some lessons in lament. Your money is corrupt and your fine clothes stink. Your greedy luxuries are a cancer in your gut, destroying your life from within. You thought you were piling up wealth. What you've piled up is judgment. And then to the workers, verse 4, he says, all the workers you've exploited and cheated cry out for judgment. The groans of the workers you used and abused are a roar in the ears of the master avenger. You've looted the earth and lived it up. He's saying here that to those people that have exploited the workers, that judgment is coming, that the Lord sees us. But it's also, especially for us, it's talking about that arrogant rich, as the Message say, talking about how we can be really focused on rich, focused on materialistic gains, focused on money in the world. And we need to recognise that money can become a god of our own, that we need to not focus on it, because all we are doing here, as it says, is building up our earthly wealth. We're getting richer and richer on earth, but God doesn't care about that. God wants us to be just, wants us to be fair. When we're exploiting others, he doesn't care how much money you've got, but he's waiting for judgment day. In the Message it says, you've looted the earth and lived it up. You've taken the earth's riches and you've lived a nice life. But really, what does it count for? It's a few nice years on earth when all that really matters is God's. All that really matters is what he thinks of us and what we're doing to serve God.
So I'm going to be talking about verses 9 to 20. I felt like verses 7 to 12 through reading into it and doing a bit of researching and highlighting how it's really about patience during suffering. So when you're feeling really low and feeling awful and you're just praying to God and asking him to provide for you and you don't feel he is and stuff isn't getting better, these verses talk about being patient and standing firm, and trusting that the Lord will provide in his long-term plan for each and every one. But I mean, being realistic, that's a really difficult thing to do when we actually think about it. It may not always feel like he's listening when you're calling out for him. And there's a really important message it highlights here, that the Lord is full of compassion. He understands what you're going through. He is the one person who knows the most and how exactly you are feeling. And I think that wonderfully moves on to verses 13 to 20, where it talks about having faith and praying. There's such a powerful verse here where it says, prayer offered in faith will make the sick person well, the Lord will raise them up. That's such an amazing thing to have that promise over us, that the Lord will heal people and he's got that power and we know he can do that. And how having strong faith is such an important thing during prayer, because prayer is a powerful message and it's just about believing God will provide for you, even if it's not necessarily what you hoped it would be. He will do that. There's a really cool example here where it talks about Elijah and how he prayed for 3 years for it not to rain on his land, and God actually provided because Elijah had that faith, and he consistently did that. And I think it's just about consistently praying and trusting in the Lord, even during those times where it doesn't feel like he's there. Just having patience, not complaining, understanding that everything that happens is in God's work and his plan for you, and that's so amazing to have, because we know that just God's so good.